What is going on, beautiful people? My name is Finesse from GoldBoys.com, and we're back with another best bet video. It's been a little while since I've done one of these, but we're back with another one. And tonight we are talking UFC Vegas 90 going down this Saturday from Vegas. And I got a 2-unit play that I'm really loving. So stick around. Little money line, 2-unit money line play that we're going to talk about tonight. So we're going to get right into it. Before we do, I want to shout out the sponsor to the video, Sleeper Picks. You guys hear me talk about this all the time. One of the best DFS platforms in the world, with one of the best offers that I've ever seen from any DFS platform. If you're new to Sleeper, download it now. Use code GoldBoys at sign up, and they'll match your first deposit up to $500. Usually it's $50, $100. Sleeper got you hooked up with $500, up to $500 on your first deposit. So download Sleeper, use code GoldBoys, and take advantage while it's hot. And salute to Sleeper for sponsoring the video. So as I said before, UFC Vegas 90 this Saturday. Got a 2-unit play, 2 units. John Matsumoto money line -160 right now at the time of recording on BetMGM. I love this one. I really do love this one, kind of because I feel like I'm on the opposite side of the public as well, which I love. I'm seeing a lot of Areta love this week. I just simply don't agree with it. I'm not always too keen on backing guys at juice, especially in their debuts. Young guy, only 24 years old, but I think Matsumoto's special. I don't want to throw that word around too much, but I've said this about guys like Joshua Dan, who has come into the UFC and is already doing damage in his division. And it's going to be the same thing for Matsumoto, in my opinion. I think he's going to do a bunch of damage in his bantamweight division. I think he's going to beat his fair share of UFC guys and begin to climb the ladder. I'd give Matsumoto 60 to 65% in this fight, which is right around -200. So at the -160 line currently, I still think there's a ton of value. Starting with the striking, not even close. Not even close. Matsumoto is light years ahead of Areta on the feet. Areta's striking is not good. It is very bad, in my opinion. Striking offense is bad. His boxing is extremely sloppy. It's just bad. His striking defense might even be worse than his offense. The striking he is a walking puncher as walking puncher bag as it gets. Does not move his head, does not move off the center line at all. He is there and open to be countered whenever anybody wants to counter him. And that kind of plays right into what Matsumoto wants to do. Matsumoto is a very extremely well-rounded guy, especially at such a young age. Like I said, only 24 years old, extremely well-rounded. And I think we're going to see more and more of this as the UFC and MMA continue to develop and become a more solidified sport. We're seeing guys come from all over the world at young ages with a lot of experience and extremely well-rounded, and Matsumoto kind of fits that mold. Matsumoto, incredibly crisp boxing, throws everything in combinations, which I love. Devastating leg kicks, amazing volume on the feet. He's extremely difficult to outwork on the feet, and that's even versus a striker, which Dan Areta is not. Incredibly diverse striking from Matsumoto, which gives guys problems. Not only is Jean relentless with the striking, but also, with the space inside of the octagon, right? When they're on the feet, he rarely takes a back step. He keeps his back off of the fence. It kind of walks his opponents down. And like I said, throws combinations consistently, which I think is going to be really good in this matchup versus Areta's heavy wrestling game plan. I think it's going to give that type of game plan a lot of problems, constantly landing punches on a fucking walking puncher bag. Not relenting any space inside of the octagon, especially the small octagon in Vegas. If you're not allowing yourself to get constantly pushed up against the fence and continue to go forward, that's going to give guys like Areta problems. The love for Areta, from bettors is obviously because of his wrestling ability. He's kind of relentless with the wrestling as well. Loves to chain things together. We've seen Matsumoto be taken down. We've seen him spend time on his back, but I don't really like Areta's takedowns. I think Areta's takedowns are much better against the fence rather than the open mat. And like I said, that's where John does not like to be and tries to avoid being is up against the fence. Areta makes a ton of mistakes positionally, whether he's trying to get guys on the ground, whether he's in top position. He makes a ton of mistakes. We've seen time and time again, him being in dominant positions, whether that's top position, being on guys' back, and just giving up the position due to carelessness and making fundamental mistakes. Jumping gillies, getting reversed, just mistakes that can change a fight. I'm not a fan of his top game at all. Not at all, but I'm not a huge fan of his top game either. If John ends up on his back, which I do think he's going to, I think Argueta's gonna, get at least one or two takedowns. I think Matsumoto is going to find himself on his back. But I think he's going to get back up and instantly be right back in Argueta's face and land the combos. We've seen this time and time again. If you look at Matsumoto's tape, the times that he has getting taken down, he has that kind of urgency to get back up, knowing how important it is. And once he's back on his feet, he's right back in your face, instantly trying to get that back, right, and trying to score, which I love and which the judges love as well. I think Matsumoto's takedown defense is pretty solid overall, especially like I said, young guy making his UFC debut. I think it's solid. I think his takedown defense is pretty solid overall, especially the frontline defense. I mentioned Argueta likes to chain wrestle, but those frontline, takedown attempts, he does really good job defending those, really good hips. At the very least, I think he'll make Argueta work extremely hard. Which kind of leads into the next point, cardio. I think Matsumoto has much better cardio than Argueta. Argueta likes to wear guys down with the wrestling and likes to kind of weaponize his cardio. But in a 15-minute fight, I think Matsumoto has way better 15-minute cardio than Argueta does. Argueta's takedowns are going to become sloppier, less effective as the rounds go on. And I think the later this fight goes, the much more it favors Matsumoto, in my opinion. Matsumoto just does not slow down at all. Like I said before, incredible 15-minute cardio that he weaponizes and breaks guys, which I think can happen in this fight. We've just seen Matsumoto beat up on Casey Tanner on Dana White's Contender Series, who I think Casey Tanner. I think is a much better fighter, especially all around fighter than a guy like Argueta. Meanwhile, Argueta just got 30-27 by Miles fucking Johns. On the record, it's a no contest because Johns popped for Turinabol, whatever the fuck it was, but he got 30-27. That's a spot where I backed Dan Argueta. So obviously, there's a little bias, little salty taste in my mouth from Dan Argueta, but I backed him in that spot and he absolutely got 30-27. Miles Johns could not miss his face with his punches. And Miles Johns is a known gasser. He's a wrestler as well, not really that technical on the feet. And he could not miss Argueta because Argueta is that bad defensively. Casey Tanner, I mentioned Matsumoto's prior opponent, and mainly a wrestler with good striking. So this will be the second camp in a row that Matsumoto's kind of focusing and preparing for a wrestler, which I think will do him good. I mentioned before, when he's 24 years old, he's going to be making leaps, in between leaps and bounds in between fights. So I expect even more progression in his skill set. He's also 7 years younger than Argueta. And as of 2 weeks ago, with the age gap of 6 years or more, the younger fighter wins 67% of the time. So we have that in our favor as well. Last point I want to make on this fight is judging. More now than ever, we're seeing judges value damage over control. We're seeing it more and more every single week. These judges just favoring much more heavily damage over control. I mentioned that I expect Jean to be active, and to be on his back at least once in this fight. But Argueta just isn't active from top position at all. He's very much opting for position over damage. I don't rate his, submission ability. I think he's pretty good at taking the back. We saw him do that with Ronnie Lawrence and was on his way to tapping him out, but the ref kind of stepped in there early. But I don't think he's like a world-class slick BJJ artist. Does almost no damage from top position. So, Jean finds himself on his back. Pair Argueta's lack of damage from top control with Matsumoto's urgency to get back up. I think he's going to get back up and win the moments of the round, win the minutes of the round, and those takedowns and that limited control time means less and less when Matsumoto is in your face, landing combos and kind of stealing the round back. So I think it's very easy to steal rounds away from Dan, and that can happen very easily in this fight. Like I said at the top, I think Matsumoto is borderline special. I think he shows us that kind of first glimpse of that this Saturday. I think he outworks Argueta in every aspect of this fight. Like I said, even if he winds up on his back, I think he proves that he's a much better fighter, the much smarter fighter. I think that's big in this fight as well. I think Jean is a very smart fighter, and I think that kind of goes into being extremely well-rounded, right? I think the IQ is incredible in the cage. I mentioned the space management. I think that's partly IQ as well too. So I think Jean is a much better fighter, the much smarter fighter, which I think is going to do him wonders in this fight. I think he wins a convincing decision or stops Dan Argueta in round 2 and round 3. So John Matsumoto KO, last time I looked at it, was like plus 600. I think that's very sneaky. Argueta has shown and proven to be tough. He's eating bombs. Like I said, his striking defense is very, very bad. So he's eating bombs in almost all of his fights and kind of walks forward. He got that big ass head. But I think the time is going to come. You cannot continuously eat punches. The lower weight class helps him, but you can't just consistently eat bombs, in the UFC and expect to just maintain your consciousness for a full 15 minutes. So, I think Matsumoto is going to land 100 plus strikes in this fight. Be good enough with the takedown defense, work his way back up, and just outwork him. So there it is. I love it. I love it. I love that. I feel like I'm a little bit on an island on this one. Like I said, a lot of Dan Argueta love throughout the week has become very much a public dog. So I like being on the other side. I'm excited for this fight. I'm excited for what Matsumoto does in this fight and moving forward in his UFC career. So there you have it. 2 units. Jean Matsumoto money line minus 160 on BetMGM. And that's my best bet for UFC Vegas 90 going down this Saturday. So I appreciate you guys for watching. Appreciate you guys for listening. Hopefully you guys found some value and we can cash a ticket on Saturday. Make sure you like the video if you haven't already. Plenty of content going on this channel for UFC, MLB, NBA. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We just surpassed 8,000 subscribers on the channel. So salute to you guys who have already hit that button. If you're not subscribed, please think about subscribing. A lot of extremely free and extremely valuable content going on this channel every single week. So I appreciate you guys. One more time, shout out to the sponsor of the video, Sleeper Picks. If you want access to all of my plays and every single play from the best team in the world, guys that are going absolutely fucking crazy every single day, that's at GoldBoys.com. So the link for all of that stuff will be in the description. GoldBoys doing specials right now. So if you hit up GoldBoys on Twitter, they'll give you a discount code for your first month, make it a little bit cheaper to kind of test us out and see if you want GoldBoys to be a home for the foreseeable future. So shout out to you guys. Shout out to GoldBoys.com. Last thing, if you do find yourself with a gambling problem, please make sure to call 1-800-GAMBLER, and that'll do it. Best bet UFC Vegas 90. And one more time, my name is Finesse from GoldBoys.com. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hit the like button. Plenty more UFC content coming in the near future. Until then, good luck on all your action on Saturday. Enjoy watching the fights, and let's cash a ticket. I'll see you when I see you. Peace.